Welcome to Snagit 10 Introduction. I'm TrainerLori. Snagit is software to help you document things that are on your computer. For example, it grabs images from your computer, can edit and highlight. You can even create video of your screen itself. If you already have it on your system, you'll find it by clicking the Start button and searching for Snagit. It comes in two parts. If you don't have it, you can get it from techsmith.com. I would suggest right-clicking on it to pin it right to your taskbar so it's always available. Like I said, it comes in two parts, and you'll see that on the left side is the edit, where you can set your profiles, the main Snagit, and what we're looking at is Snagit 10. And on the right side is the editor. And I used to use the editor all the time, and then I discovered you can copy right to the clipboard, so you really don't even need to save your snags if you don't need to. In the editor, you can have a list of all the Snagits, all the things that you've snipped, and you can search by recent, you can search by older dates, you can even tag them and flag them so that you can search by other kinds of things like, if it's about finances or if it was one that you really wanted to say was good. So you can flag the snags so you can find them again later. There's a lot of toolbars too. We won't get into all of the toolbars, but you can see that there's options to draw on the snag. This is very convenient. This is probably one of my favorite things to use for Snagit. For example, if somebody emails me, how do I do something, and I can snag a picture and I can write right on it. I can circle the things that they need to click on, or I can highlight, I can put a text box on it. I use these effects a lot. You can also change, for example, I like to use this ripped view if I'm snagging something that's long and I don't need the middle part, then I can show the top and the bottom or the left and the right without showing all the middle part by showing that it's cut out in the middle. So that's pretty handy. There's also a cutout tool. And then you can even add hotspots if you want to make them link to something. And then, you know, they've got great tutorials, so you can use the hotspot or the tools right here just by asking, how do I do something? So it's very convenient. The profiles and the capture tools are very cool. For example, you can just click here and decide if you're going to start capturing. I use the hotkey. The default is just print screen, and I think that that's very handy. That way I don't have to actually use my mouse, and because I might be wanting to capture my actual mouse. So you can see that there's lots of profiles already in there, or you can create your own. So if you're going to create your own, the first thing you do is select your profile settings, and I'll show you what all the options are in just a minute. And then you save the profile, and then you can find the profile up here. So once you've made your selections down here, then you can save it and you'll have your own profiles and choose what you want. For example, this is all-in-one. That's default. It's always on there. But I like this, copy to clipboard. I want it to go right to the clipboard and not into the editor, and so that's very handy. Alright, now let's look at the options under Profile Settings. All-in-one, and then you can see some other options for just the region or the window. So I just want to take part of it, or I want the whole window, whatever happens to be open or in front. Or scrolling, that's great for websites, and I'll show you what that looks like in a minute. One thing you can't do is you can't capture anything in Snagit, so it was very hard for me to get these screen captures. I had to actually use PowerPoint to get these screen captures. Output, what do you want to do with it once you've got it? For example, you can send it to a file, especially for video. That would probably be popular for that. Or if you want to email it right to somebody, you want to show them how to do something, you can put it into a program, or you can preview it right in the editor. I prefer the clipboard now, although sometimes when I want to add more things like the circles around it or the check marks, then I would preview it in the editor so I can add those. Then there's some effects that you can do with it. You can choose what you want it to look like. This is very powerful, but they're very small, so you might miss them. For example, this one, when I'm teaching especially Excel, the cursor changes so much depending on where it happens to be, and that's really critical when you're learning a new program. What should the cursor look like? And so this will actually allow you to see the cursor And sometimes I want it on, sometimes I don't, so you can simply turn it on and off here. Another great tool is a timer. So you can, for example, if you have a download that's occurring and it takes several hours, a lot of people I work with are developers, and they may be downloading lots of data, and there's some error and they want to know when and where the error occurred. They can capture every few seconds or even every few minutes and see where it might have happened. Makes it like a little video. And then you can actually have a video capture, and that's where it's capturing what's going on my desktop, or image or text, and then of course your web capture. Well, this is what all-in-one looks like, and all-in-one, when the new 10 came out, this was a little confusing because there's so much stuff going on. But these gold bars, they're crosshairs, and you essentially start in the top left corner, and as soon as it recognizes a window, for example, it will grab it. It'll stop, and you don't actually have to click and drag all the way around it like you used to. So it is very convenient once you get used to it. Just remember that these crosshairs, and you'll also have a close-up of what's happening on the crosshairs, but these crosshairs are you'll want to start in the top left corner and drag to the bottom left corner of whatever you're going to capture. Scrolling window is great if you're trying to get something like a website where you can't see everything at once, or if you're trying to get something like a PDF. I wanted to grab a whole PDF, but it was in a legal format, so I could grab the whole thing and use it for something else. So scrolling window means that it's got these arrows. You just go down to the arrow and it'll say scrolling, give me a minute, and it will capture that vertical screen. So in this case, it grabbed this entire website in one capture, so I didn't have to do the copy-paste method that I usually do in 2 or 3 captures. And then video capture, very popular. However, it takes lots and lots of memory, so don't just do it because you can. Really think it through, and we'll go into that in a little more detail. So with a video capture, you choose where you're going to start the capture, and then you have to actually tell it to start recording. If you click on the Tools tool, you have some options there under Program Preferences to change what is the hotkey. As I said, the default is print screen, which I really like. That's the PRT SCR button on your keyboard. But if you use that for something else, you can see that that is a global capture. And then you just have some other options, and you can change them. So if you want to add your own hotkeys and you want to make sure that it's Alt print screen or Control print screen instead, you can do that. You can change that. Let's say we want to create a video. So first we would choose our capture mode, and so I want to change it from picture to video, and then I would select how I want to input it, and I highly recommend with video that you capture a region. You can always move the region, but you usually don't want the entire screen because I may not be able to see what's going on. It'll be too small to see and too big to save. Choose how you're going to save it, the file where it's going to save. And then if you want some effects, but also options. For example, do you want audio, or do you just want to see what the screen is doing? And then you finally click your capture button or your hotkey. Like I said, my default and the one I keep is print screen. So let's say it's going to do this. So I'm going to position the orange rectangle, that's where it starts. And then I click Start to begin recording, and it gives you some information about how it's going to record. And then you do have the option to Control-Shift-S or your print screen again to end the recording. And remember, you do have the pause option that shows up in the bottom of your system tray. To view it, you would go in the editor, and it has all these tools so that you can control it. Video takes lots of memory, so make sure that you plan it through before if you're going to start using the video option. Don't add any unnecessary content, size or length. If you're just talking, you might as well do it in PowerPoint. There's no reason to do it in an actual screen capture. Limit the size of the program window captured instead of taking the whole thing. Start small, and then pan. And if you don't know what pan is, you probably shouldn't be in video, but essentially it means to start in one place and move it to the other place. And then limit the length of the video sequence, and you can actually choose how many frames captured. By video is typically 30 frames per second. That's a lot of memory. So you can change that. You can make that less. Now here's a big uh-oh. The maximum size video is 1 gigabyte, and you can do that pretty quickly, I can tell you. If you pass it, the entire capture is lost. It doesn't stop at 1 gig, so keep that in mind and plan it out. You can choose properties for output. For example, for your video, see, you can change it from 30 to 5 seconds, or 5 frames per second, etc. You can change your audio options and file name, etc. It does save as an audio-video interleave or .avi file by default. And then you'll find it under your videos. Now, if you don't have enough memory to store all of that video, you can store it on their website, screencast.com. That's all. See you next time. Thank you.